If you're an investor looking to capitalize on the potential summer rally, you're in the right place. In this video, we're going to be sharing our top stock picks for the summer and into the fall. So get ready to take notes and let's get into it. All right, guys, one of our most popular videos was the one where we talked about how we would each spend $5,000 in the stock market. And today I want to expand on that just a little bit. We're heading into the summer and we've talked about a summer rally, or at least the potential of one. So today I want to identify 3 stocks for our viewers that you think could lead the market over the next quarter and into the fall. Chris, let's start with you. I want to know what your picks are, but not only that, why are you considering these as good choices for a summer rally?
Okay. So yeah, this was a fun little exercise for me because I don't normally put my head in the mindset of a trader. I'm more of a buy and hold guy, but these are actually times when you do have to think like a trader. So the first pick that I had was one that actually I kind of got the idea from Thomas. I might be stealing one of his ideas.
All right.
He put it on my radar a couple of years ago with an article he wrote, and that's Camping World. Stocks up about 24% year to date. We're heading into that summer season where people are going to be looking to go camping. It's an economical alternative in difficult times. And the one thing I know about people that own RVs, it's kind of like people that own boats. Once you own one, you're going to be inclined to use it because otherwise you're not just going to have that asset sitting there. So Camping World is building up their network of sales and service companies so they can service RVs that might need to be serviced. They also have now a rental website so people can actually rent RVs from them. So, and the stock's undervalued at around 11 times earnings. Looks like a stock that investors might want to look at. Second choice for me, one we talked about last week, that's going to be the TJX companies, the parent company of TJ Maxx. This is known for being a place that consumers go to look for their treasure hunts. The stock is showing strong technical signs. It's forming a base. It's trading above, or it's showing support above the trading averages. So this is one that I think investors should watch for. And the third one that I have on my list, this one may be a little bit of a reach, but it's one that I like, is Vertex Pharmaceuticals. It's always tricky getting into biotech companies. Vertex is the leader in cystic fibrosis drugs by a large margin. In late April, they got an expanded use authorization for their lead cystic fibrosis drug, Trikafta. Another one of their cystic fibrosis drugs got a similar authorization in Europe. One of the things that I'm intrigued at with the stock is the fact, however, that Vertex has a partnership with CRISPR Therapeutics. That means they're getting into the gene editing, gene therapy space, and there's talk that there's going to be a announcement forthcoming sometime in the second quarter that might show that they're making progress in there in the areas of sickle cell disease and also type 1 diabetes.
Thomas, are those solid picks, or do you have something else in your mind?
Those sound like solid picks to me, but I'll give you my list. My number one pick is a trio of consumer staple stocks. I'm picking these guys because they show pricing power enough to offset volume declines and still produce growth. Their margins are holding up or widening. The dividends are in great shape. Growing in 2 out of 3 of these names. We've got an average yield above 3%. 2 of 3 of them are trending higher. One is in a major reversal and driven by an expansion. They're all set up to outperform during the summer. The names here are PepsiCo, Kraft Heinz, and General Mills. They all reported solid earnings recently. They're all getting upgrades from the analysts. General Mills and Pepsi are trending into new all-time highs, which suggests new all-time highs will continue. Kraft Heinz is in the depths of a reversal that could still take a few years to play out, but right now it looks like there's going to be a nice little updraft for the summer. My number 2 pick is cloud and cloud services stocks. Some recent reports from Microsoft and Datadog, an upgrade for Snowflake. A report from Palantir this morning suggests that this beaten down sector is seeing a revival. driven by one, the shift to the cloud, which is ongoing and supported by big businesses, but also by artificial intelligence. So my pick within this is going to be Snowflake because it just got an upgrade. It should be supported by cloud growth as well as AI. This one has an added benefit of having a proprietary bank of data that it can leverage to help these AI companies train their models. Because one of the big deals right now with AI is whose data can you use to train these models? And it can be expensive to get it. Snowflake already has the data, so they should be able to make the cost of training AI models a little bit cheaper. My third pick is Freshpet. Q1 results were mixed, but they show some traction in the company's kind of turnaround plan. They hit some hiccups during the pandemic trying to grow too fast. They lost some quality. They've refocused on quality and execution while expanding. They expect to be profitable through the end of the year. The chart shows the market at a tipping point. I might like to see it move a little bit higher before I commit to a full-on trade for the summer, but I'm pretty bullish on Freshpet.
Thomas, I may not be the best at math, but I feel like you cheated there a little bit. Sounds like a lot more than 3 stocks to me, but I'm actually surprised. I'm actually surprised you didn't mention Darden Restaurants. I thought for sure that would have been one of your picks.
Right, and I know why. Darden by itself is a great name. It's a value in the restaurant industry. The sit-down restaurants are having a nice rebound right now. The stock is trending higher, about to hit new highs. It pays a decent dividend, and it just bought Ruth's Chris. Ruth's Chris is a smaller player in the industry, but just as good of a quality stock and a dividend player, benefiting from the same trends. So I see this as like a match made in heaven. Darden Restaurants should be able to leverage their scale to help Ruth's Chris, and Ruth's Chris will certainly add some shine to their portfolio.
Do you anticipate any potential risks or challenges for these stocks during the summer months?
When I put on my hat as a trader, I do see some. All of these stocks that I picked, I believe, are good long-term opportunities for investors. But in the short term, if the Federal Reserve decides to raise interest rates in June, which who knows if that's going to happen, if this debt ceiling crisis escalates into something worse, both of those would be serious headwinds for the broader economy. And that would sour, I think, investor sentiment on even something like Camping World, which is dealing with, like I said, a fairly economical alternative to travel. But I could see consumer sentiment souring there. With TJX, I see the opposite problem. I would think if the Federal Reserve does indeed indicate or show that they are pausing on their interest rate hikes, and if investors start to feel a little bit more optimistic about the economy heading into the second half, I could see investor sentiment changing on TJX because consumers may decide to start looking at other retail channels other than the TJX companies and the family of brands underneath there. With Vertex, I think for me, I don't see an immediate headwind, but I think it's telling that the stock went down after a good earnings report. However, it's backed by a large amount of investor sentiment right now. Institutional investors are very high on the stock. It has gapped up a little bit after, before earnings, it had gapped up quite a bit. But institutional investors can sell a stock for a lot of reasons. There's only one reason why they're recommending buying it. That's because they think it's going to go up. At least that's how I look at it.
Right. So I agree with Chris's first 2 picks. I mean, I'm all in with Camping World, and I think TJX is great too. But Vertex, that's more of a trade to me. Like Camping World and TJX, you can definitely invest in those and see a gain over the summer and then keep on holding them. But pharma is tough. And like Chris said, it's all about sentiment. When I look at the chart, though, I'm not seeing it. It's not telling me to buy it. I think that Vertex could possibly get good news and pop out of its pattern. But right now, it looks like the stock is heading lower.
Yeah, full disclosure there, Lacey. So you told us about the pick you had, I think, for the MarketBeat challenge. Vertex was mine, and Thomas made a great point. So I was looking at the stock, and they were actually anticipating they were going to get that announcement about their CF drug, in the end of March. And so I picked Vertex, and I was hoping like I was going to be like Mage at the Kentucky Derby. I was going to be outside making the charge at the end. And then they didn't make the announcement until April. And that's like Thomas said, it is a tough industry because it's all based on when those announcements come in and what happens with the stock, because it did charge after they got that announcement. But, you know, it was too late for me, but it was great for the people that were in the stock at that time.
Right. And I don't really know enough about Vertex to make a really intelligent comment about it, but looking at the charts, it doesn't seem to me like the market's getting behind it the way that maybe it could be if there was going to be a summer rally.
Well, I love to hear both sides of it from you guys. It's very helpful for investors, I think, for sure. But so moving on, when it comes to a summer rally, do investors need to pay attention to things like how these stocks performed historically during the summer months in the past, or is that not something that they need to concern themselves with?
Well, I think you will probably always want to consider that to a degree. Some stocks certainly do better during the summer than during the winter, and vice versa. But I think that most of these are trades on the times. The times have changed. Like Chris's two choices, Campy World and TJX, I had this thought. He's with this combination is expecting things to stay the same, for the new normal to persist. Rates aren't going to go up and they're not going to go down, because any kind of movement is going to hurt one of those positions. And so I think that most of these positions are really investments and trades on the times more so than the season.
Well, thank you both for sharing your picks with us. Are there any final thoughts or recommendations for investors looking to capitalize on the summer rally?
You know, I think I agree with actually with what Thomas just said. I think that you have to have your own point of view. My point of view is certainly that I expect kind of more of the same throughout the summer. I'm kind of expecting us to stay in this somewhat range bound market. So I'm looking for opportunities that you can see a stock that might peek its head up above that. But certainly, you know, if you're more sour on the outlook than I am, then you might have other picks. We'd love to hear from you.
Certainly.
All right, so you heard our stock picks and you know the drill. We want to hear yours. So don't forget to let us know what stocks you're looking at as you head into the summer. And if you want us to dedicate our next analysis video to a particular stock, let us know about that too. Thanks for joining me, Chris and Thomas. We'll be keeping an eye on your picks as things heat up. Talk to you soon.
See you next time.
See you next time, Lacey.